decided to sit here with me. There she is. It is a Friday morning, and it is the 7th of July, 7/7/2023. Makes a 7. I'm reading out of Life as Carola, which is a book written by Joan Grant, who used to write books of her far memories. This is her far memory as Carola. Carola was born on the 4th of May 1510, so this place before the Renaissance, in Italy. She was the illegitimate daughter of Lord Griffin, she was banished from the castle with her mother, and her mother was killed. She has had lots of experiences, and she is now a fugitive because her friend Sophia was burned at the stake. It was quite a serious chapter, the last one. Anyway, onwards, chapter 14, Fugitive. I cannot remember how I got away from the place where they had killed Sophia. I only know that somehow I was free of the town, galloping through the dusk to find Petruchio. I reached the inn after the shutters had been put up, and when I clattered into the yard, no light showed at any of the windows. I threw up a stone into Lucia's room to try and waken her, but the windows stared blankly and empty, and the broken shutters banged to and fro in the forlorn wind. I saw a glimmer of light as the kitchen door opened. Someone ran silently across the courtyard towards me. I saw it was Petruchio, and then he was very disturbed. In a low voice he said, "Thank God that you are safe, my Carola. There was a fiesta yesterday and everyone is sleeping heavily, otherwise they might have heard you. I have kept the panniers of the packed mules filled against your return. We must hurry." I could not understand what he was talking about, or why he should warn me to start on a journey when I was so tired. I suppose that Bernard and Lucia had set off without us, and that for some reason Petruchio was impatient to join them. "I cannot go on anywhere tonight, Petruchio. You must tell the others that I will follow them when I have slept. I'm too tired to think, too tired to eat. I only want to sleep. If the inn is full, a corner of the stable will do." He took no notice of my protest and said even more urgently, "I must get away. I must get you away from here. There's no time for explanations. You must believe in me, Carola, and do exactly as I tell you. Otherwise you will endanger both of us." He would not even let the Jenna drink at the trough before he made me remount. He led us out by the little door that gave from the cow byre into the pasture and across a field until I came to a copse. Then he tied the rein to a tree and told me to wait for him. It seemed only a few minutes before he was with me again, riding his own mule and leading another. I was too tired to wonder where we were going, and only just managed to keep in the saddle. I could tell by the sound of the hooves made that we were not following a road. I heard a cock crowing in the distance, and once a dog barked at us from a silent house. When it grew light, Petruchio led the way along a stream which ran between high banks in a miniature ravine to a hidden grassy beach where there was enough room for us and the animals to rest. I started to question him, but he must have fallen asleep before he answered me. When I woke, it was early evening. Petruchio had made a fire between 2 flat stones, and the fish he had caught were roasting in the embers. I realized I was very hungry. I felt much stronger after I had eaten and drunk some glowing cordial that Petruchio had brought with him. Before he let me ask any questions, he made me tell everything that had happened to me since I left him. As I finished describing my vision, he interrupted me. That vision was true, but my Carola, it is perilous knowledge to hold in our time, a time when the Church condemns as heretics all who profess powers it cannot understand. It is so difficult to refrain from speaking of what you know to be true, but you must guard your speech, or you will be condemned out of your own mouth. Petruchio, you talk as though you taught me a sorcerer. I think that? No, Carola, but the Church would. It has forgotten that once all true priests could travel beyond the outward form of the world. Now it only remembers that there is a stinking canal along which the followers of Satan come to bewilder mortals. All who receive news either from the source of light or from the darkness now suffer the same punishment from ignorant authority. The Church is right to condemn sorcerers, to condemn those who allow themselves to be possessed. For the angels do not descend upon men, though men can train themselves to soar to heavenly dominions. It is not only sorcerers whom the Church destroys, but all who would bring back the forgotten wisdom of Christ's teaching into their dead ritual. I realized that he was trying to warn me of the danger of consorting with people like Sophia, and yet to spare me the pain of knowing what she had suffered. I said, I watched Sophia burn as a witch. The Church was only the instrument of her death. It was her dark familiar that brought her to the fire. Yet, if the Church knew the true powers behind their own rituals, they would have cast out the devil that possessed her, and put a seal upon her, so that it could never enter her again. While I was describing what I had seen, it was almost as though I could still hear Sophia's screams. Petruccia took my hand and comforted me, as if I was a child. Then he told me why we were fugitives from the village. When Lucia found that you had gone, she was very distressed. I told her that you would come back, that you had gone away for a few days because solitude had become necessary to you. But she would not believe me and insisted on going to Sophia's house to see if you were there. When she came back to the inn, I could see that she was terrified. She had found some of the villagers setting fire to the house, and they had told her that Sophia had been taken before the papal authority to be brought to trial for witchcraft. There were rumors that other women had joined with Sophia in the Black Mass. Some said that one of them was a girl with red hair, who had often been seen going with her into the woods. Lucia knew they meant you, Carola, and thought that they would soon recognize the lute player at the inn as being she whom they suspected of being the consort of a witch. Lucia was afraid that you might have told someone how she had gone to Sophia for a love potion, so she barred herself into her room and would not open to anyone. I managed to persuade Bernard to take her away with him, though he is more frightened of sorcery than of the plague. He pretended to think you were never coming back, that you had received warning of Sophia's betrayal and had fled, without waiting for us to go with you. Lucia did not believe him, for she left me the crucifix she wore, the one Bernard gave her, to give to you when I saw you again. She said it would protect you against demons, if you had not already sold yourself into their keeping. I knew that when you had received what you had gone up into the hills to find, you would come back. I prayed that it might be when everyone was asleep, for the innkeeper is avaricious, and the Church pays well for news of hearsay. I think I wept. I had ridden down from the hills, strong in the memory of truth. I had been so sure that somehow I should find strength to destroy the dark power that threatened Sophia, and I had stood in the crowd to watch her die alone. I had tried to help Lucia to live. I had loved her, and she had been my friend for more than 4 years. Once she had railed at me for not believing in witchcraft, for warning her against sorcery, for scorning love potions. Now she had fled from me. She feared my hearsay. Next chapter. Reluctant Trobadour. Petruccia and I lived much as we had done when we were with Bernard and Lucia, but we kept away from the roads we had travelled before. It was easier to earn money by writing serenades than by lute playing, so I began to follow the traditions of a troubadour. I would be told a woman's name, the colour of her hair and eyes, and in an hour be expected to have written verses that praised her doubtful charms as if she were a goddess. By making a few changes I could use the same lines over again, and sometimes more prosperous scribers paid me to do their work for them. It made me impatient that men had not even the wit to beguile women into folly without another woman helping them. One day, when I was feeling more impatient than usual, I said to Petruccio, "It is a strange world that we live in. You earn your bread by making men laugh, when, if they thought of themselves, they would weep. And I earn mine by weaving a tapestry of lies. In the last month I have made more than 50 songs for men to sing to their mistresses, young mistresses, scornful mistresses, eager mistresses, even dead mistresses. I write songs of love that is unending, for men to sing who do not even know that life is unending. All over Italy, troubadours are singing of happy lovers. Are there not a diversity of lies that they must always play upon one theme? Why do they not sing of goats that can mutter like priests, of cauldrons of water that freeze when they are hung over a fire, or trees that uproot themselves and fly into the air? Perhaps it is not love, but what men seek from it, which is at fault, he said. Perhaps it is not love, but what men seek from it, which is at fault, he said. If man hopes for permanence from that which is impermanent, he must find sorrow. To love only the flesh is to love a flower, believing that when it withers one's heart will die. He was holding a poplar spray in his hand. I noticed how much thinner his hands had become, as if soon they would be as transparent as a skeleton leaf. He pointed at the tree from which the twig had come. Look at the rosy bronze of that poplar. Its leaves are newly unfurled, for it is spring, but soon they will be green, and then autumn will mint them for winter, to swirl like smoke upon the wind. We do not regret their seasonable change, because it is the spirit of the poplar which we love, the spirit which manifests itself in the beauty that our eyes can see. If men and women could love each other with this knowledge, they would find happiness and love, for they would glory in the spring without fearing the autumn. They would know that although this body dies, another will be born, and greater than this, Carola. For their comfort, they would know that though upon earth they had grown old, though their skin was withered, and their hair without lustre, they had but to sleep to enter into youth, to see each other as they had once been, to see each other as they had longed to be, fair and radiant in the image of God. That is it for this morning.